All right. All right. Things are live now. So everything's working. It looks like microphone, camera. I think we're good. Let me get disclaimers out of the way. We'll jump into it. This is a weekly live broadcast pretty much every Thursday evening. Now, we won't be here next Thursday evening because it's Thanksgiving, but pretty much every Thursday evening unless something gets in the way. This is where I am. You can come in here. We can chat live in the live chat box. I do my best to respond to all the chat that's coming in unless you're talking to each other, which is okay. It's fine with me. We can talk about whatever you want to talk about, whether it's questions about quail or rabbits or gardens or religion or politics, whatever. I don't really care. But the only things I ask is be polite, be family friendly, don't be hateful with anybody. We can have disagreements and we can have good debates, and we can still be friends. We don't have to be hateful about it, start calling anybody names or anything like that. So, I guess we're ready to jump into it. All right, we only got a couple of people here so far, only 6. It's a little bit low, but we're going to see what we can do here. Oh, no, I don't know closed captioning. I don't know how to do closed captioning on the live broadcast. We got somebody that says they're deaf and they need, it's Brad Kasky says deaf and he needs closed captioning, and I don't know how to do it. Yeah, I don't know if there's a way to do it on a live broadcast. I just don't know. But we got Buck Reynolds here, hoping everybody is well. I hope you are too. And we've got Dragon Girl here. Says hi to Buck. I hope you are doing well too. I don't know the first thing about closed captioning on here. There's no setting for me to. There's no way for me to do it, unfortunately. Hey, there's Teresa Wiggins. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us tonight. All right, we got 15 people in here now. Chat should start picking up, and we'll get going here. I never have any topics planned out. I always just kind of rely on the chat to kind of drive the way the conversation's going to go. But maybe I should be planning some things out. I will tell you guys right now that I'm probably going to be wrapping this up just a little bit early tonight, maybe 15 minutes or something like that. I'm taking the day off tomorrow, going hunting. It's the last week in a rifle season, and I really need to get the freezer filled. I'm out. I think I've got one package of deer burger left from last year. The other one's in the crock pot right now, making chili. So I'm going to get off probably a little bit early, eat, go to bed so I can get up early in the morning, go hunting. But hey, other than that, we're good. So David Lister says, good evening from McAllister Lake. Chris, do you save your own seeds or purchase them? I do both, actually. I tend to save my own seeds, but then there's always a few that I purchase from year to year, too. Most of the time, I just save them, though. Humble Vet says, hey, bud, watching from the beautiful island of is that Saipan? Is that it? That sounds familiar to me, but I'm not sure exactly where that is. But either way, thank you for watching and joining in with us. I appreciate that. We got 340 Quail Farm from Outdoor Florida here. Good to see you. Thank you for joining. Teresa Wiggins says, hey, to Brad, I'm sure that if you have a specific question, type it in, and I'm sure he'll be happy to type out the answer. Yeah, that's true. That is true. I will type the answer. Let's put that in there. I'll be happy to do it. I know I need to do better with getting closed captioning done. That's a good point. I should have said that to begin with. All right. Waiting on the chat to catch up to me. Humble Vet says, is it normal for Coturnix quail to not lay at 8 weeks old first time raising them? That's not necessarily abnormal, especially if you don't have light. If you don't have some kind of light on them to extend the daylight, because right now, I'm assuming you live in the United States. Right now, our days are shorter. They need about 14 hours of light a day to lay. So if you're not providing an external light of some kind to extend the daylight to 14 hours a day, then yeah, they're not going to start laying right now. It's not abnormal at all. Let's see. Most of the time, especially like I said in the summer when the days are longer, they are going to start. You said you are supplementing their light with LED of 16 hours a day. Yeah, just give them a little bit of time, then they'll probably go ahead and start laying for you. It does seem like it takes a little bit of time, a little bit longer in the fall, the winter for them to start laying. I've got some birds that are Oh, probably just a little over 8 weeks old, and the roosters just started crowing. And usually the roosters start crowing about a week or two before the hens start laying their eggs. So it does seem, even if you've got light on them, sometimes it takes them a little bit longer to get going in the fall and the wintertime. So yeah, it doesn't sound like anything to worry about. It's probably just time of year. Verna says, sorry I'm late, Chris. Hope your day was blessed. Well, thank you. It wasn't too bad. I had to stand outside in direct traffic at work for half the day, but that's not that big a deal. Yeah, we have at work, they're redoing some of the parking lot, and they're like the employees park behind. It's one driveway that leads into the building. The building's here, and the driveway goes this way, and the drive goes this way, and the employees park back here, and all the clients move. They parked up the front of the building, but that section was blocked off. They couldn't park up there, so we had to have somebody stand outside all day, direct traffic. Hey, go park over there, go through the back of the building, so they would know where to go, because we hadn't planned that out and didn't have signs up. So we were taking 30-minute shifts of standing out there, and it was me and two other guys, so I had to rotate around with them all day long, stand outside. It's a little chilly, but it wasn't bad. It was okay. It could have been a lot worse. Humble Vest says, oh, okay, good to know. My males just started crowing recently. Yeah, give them a little while longer. I'm sure they'll get going. And Marta says, in that case, start watching for your first eggs any day now. I agree. Bernie says, hey, Chris, got a 4-year-old quail, the matriarch sentimental. Her claws grow to extraordinary length, so she struggles to walk. Is it okay to clip them? Yeah, it's fine. You can clip them if you need to, if her toenails are growing really long. Don't go overboard. Don't clip them too short, of course, but kind of like you would a dog's nails or something like that. Look for, like, if you can find where the quick is, basically, clip past that. Otherwise, just maybe take off the last little section of them. It should be okay. You should be able to do that. Brenda says, we're in a winter weather advisory until 4 a.m. Well, we're not quite that cold. We're supposed to get down to 30 degrees tonight, which is pretty chilly for what it has been lately. But no winter weather advisories. Dawn from South Central Illinois. There we go. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Hopefully you're doing well. I think you had a couple of surgeries recently, or getting ready to have another one maybe. Hopefully you're recovering well from that. All right, what else we got? Well, I don't have anything else to fill the time with. I should. Verna says that the wind chill factor is 23, the temp is 31. Yeah, sounds like wintertime. Bernie says, thanks, ref nail clipping. I think saying thanks for referencing the nail clipping, I guess is what you're saying. Ice cold in the UK. Yeah, I don't know what the temperature is. I don't know what your weather's like there. If it gets real cold often, if that's unusual. And, this is the time of year where we should be cold. We've actually been unseasonably warmer, but it does seem to me like the last 5 or 6 years, it seems like the seasons have kind of shifted a little bit. So it's like fall comes a little bit later, winter comes a little bit later, spring comes a little bit later. Usually I'm planting things out by like Mother's Day. And this year, in the last couple of years, it's been really like a couple of weeks after that. And usually by this time of the year, we're getting down in the 20s and stuff. And I mean, like a couple of weeks ago we would have been, but we're just now getting there now. So S.O. Swanson says, greetings from Mississippi. Thought I'd come hang out and see what Chris is going to teach us. I don't know if I'm going to do my best. I don't know if I can teach you much of anything. Who knows? Don says, no big deal for weather here. Just cold, 21 tonight, like last night. Yeah, 29. That's a little cold. Tony Muller, I think it is, says, hello all. Tony from Virginia signing on. Hope everyone's doing well. Well, I am. Hopefully you are too. Thank you for joining us. Verna says, it's been snowing all day, but don't have accumulation yet. Yeah, I kind of wish it would snow, actually. I kind of like the snow, but Dawn says, hey, Chris, I'm doing great. No third surgery will be done, and the broken bone is fusing in the knee. Well, that sounds good. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear you're doing well. Got a couple people talking to each other. I'll skip over those. Dragon Girl says, we just had a bomb cyclone here in Washington. Power outage expected to last for a few days. Fortunately, I don't have any brooder babies right now. A bomb cyclone? I've never heard of such a thing. But yeah, hopefully, you're in Washington, huh? So I don't want to restart right now. There. My computer just said restart to install updates. I don't want to do that right now. It's a bad time. Yeah, it is fortunate you don't have any in the brooder, though. But I don't know what a bomb cyclone. I've never heard that term before. That's a new one for me. Power outage expected to be out for days. That sucks. I'm sorry to hear that. I don't know what your weather's like right now, but stay safe. Hopefully you can get through it okay. Dawn says, I had 2 knee replacements, and then the quad muscles snapped, bone off on the tibia. I think it was below the knee. It was healing in 3 weeks with a brace and my secret knit bone. Wow. That sounds like an ordeal. I'm glad to hear you're doing better. David says, Chris, if you want snow, you have to hang your Christmas lights before Thanksgiving. Yeah, I guess so. So Arrowhead Homestead says, hey, Chris, this is Roger. Give us a update late on the Tamucks. Well, the Tamucks are doing fine, still growing out a little bit. I'm still waiting for them to get, I've got the Tamuk doe and the Tamuk buck that I'm waiting for them to get a little bit bigger, the doe specifically, get a little bit bigger, grow out just a little bit more before I breed her. But she's pretty close, real close. Babies, my silver fox babies, a couple weeks old now. They're in and out of the nest box. They're still pretty small, but they're getting in and out of the nest box on their own, moving around. They're doing just fine. No problems. I'm not sure if there was some specific question you had about them that I could answer, but that's kind of where they're at right now. They're doing well. That Tamuk doe is probably the friendliest doe I've ever seen. I mean, every time I go to the cage, she comes right up to the front. She wants to be petted. I've never had a doe that's quite that, enthusiastic and friendly. Don says they make up new names for storms to make them sound worse. LOL. Liberal terminology. Haha. It could be, I guess. Teresa Wiggins is going to explain this. A bomb cyclone is a potent cold season coastal storm that's so named because of its explosive strength. Okay. It does sound like a made up thing, though. I agree. Dragon Girl says it's like a winter hurricane. Storm cycles offshore, but very heavy winds. And then Dragon Girl says, thanks to Teresa for the better explanation. Yeah, that does sound terrible. Oh, here's another. Verna, apparently I'm the only one that's never heard of this before. Verna says a bomb cyclone occurs during the rapid intensification of a cyclone located between the tropics and the polar regions, according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Okay, well, thank you for informing me of that. I didn't know that. Andy Dundas says, hey, Chris, from Southwest Michigan, we got our first snow here today, but it didn't last very long. Well, that must be, I don't know if that's nice or not for you or not. I mean, is that ahead of schedule, behind schedule? Sounds like Michigan, it's probably behind schedule, isn't it? Don't you usually have snow by this time? But yeah, that's one of the things I like about here. We get snow occasionally, and sometimes we'll get a decent amount of accumulation, but it doesn't last very long. So, I like it when we get it. And I like that it's gone before I'm getting sick of it, if that makes sense. Don says, Chris, I opted to go the next 6 weeks with the brace, doing a tests with it. I gave the surgeon an idea, and so we are testing it on the brace /muscle/bone. Okay, well, I hope that goes well. I'm not sure exactly what to make of that because I'm not a doctor at all, but hopefully the test works out and you heal up just fine. S.O. Swanson knows what a bomb cyclone is, too, apparently. A bomb cyclone is one that drops in pressure rapidly. It's like hurricane, explosive storm, thus the bomb name. Okay, I got you. Homestead Matters says, happy Friday Eve all. Bomb cyclone causing some crazy here in Eugene, Oregon. Prayers for those affected. Yeah, indeed. Praying for those. Not good to hear. So, hurricanes and all that kind of stuff this year. And, they happen every year, I guess. But there's been quite a few people affected by them here recently. I don't know if you guys heard this or not. And, this is not to throw any political stuff out there and getting people all upset. Again, I don't care. how you vote. I don't care what political side of the aisle you're on. We can still be friends. I may disagree with you on some things, but that's okay. We can disagree and we can be friends. We don't have to hate each other because of those disagreements. But one thing that I think we can all agree on, and I don't know if you guys have heard this story or not, there is a FEMA director or FEMA employee, I guess. I don't know. I can't remember the title of this employee or whatever, but got fired recently because was instructing their team to, like, when they're going out for hurricane relief and they're going house to house for it, to skip over houses that had Trump signs on. So now, whether you are a Trump supporter or not, that's wrong. It would be wrong if they were told to skip over, signs that had, or houses that had Biden signs on them, or houses. Anything, any kind of skip over anybody. That's wrong to do. And they were doing it, and now they're claiming that it was like normal practice for FEMA. Now here's the part that gets me, though, is that you remember when the conservatives were saying that the funds were being misused, they were being withheld from people and things like that, and it was all being called fake news, and they were getting it. Not a single, since this has come out, I don't think a single news station has carried this story. I haven't seen it on any news stations. I saw it on something else, but anyhow, that's an infuriating thing. That's been a couple of weeks ago since that's kind of come out. I haven't really heard how it goes. Don says these storms are not new, just a new fear factor name. LOL. Well, yeah, they tend to do that. They tend to kind of come up with names for things that have always happened. Teresa Wiggins says 2 have died so far. 2 people have died. Is that what you're saying? Oh my gosh, that's terrible. Yeah, prayers for all those. Indeed. S.O. Swanson says, funny, I just got off work. Then the advertisement that played was for my employer. Interesting. That's always kind of funny. Derny says, are you planning more veggie videos next year or learn a lot from them? I'll see what I can do. I didn't have a good gardening season this year. I kind of neglected it, and I've kind of put it off the last couple of years. I haven't been as focused on it as I need to be to get it to produce. So yeah, I'll try to do more gardening videos. One of the reasons I don't do a lot of them, because to me gardening's pretty simple, really. But there are a few things you need to do. We had a big discussion about tomato blight last week and how to deal with that, and I haven't found a good solution. Somebody was saying crush up aspirin in water, spray the plants with that. And I did try to use aspirin last year, but it didn't really help too much. So we're going to see how it goes. But yeah, I will see what I can do to do a little bit more on that. Derny says, love the quail info. Well, thank you. Joe Sandy says, hello, Sandy from Southeast Michigan. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Homestead Matters says that whole story is infuriating. So wrong on so many levels. Yeah, so wrong. Yeah, indeed. Absolutely. Verna says, I agree. When they single out to out others, that is not right. I absolutely agree. And again, it doesn't matter. It's not because I'm not upset about it because they were skipping over Trump supporters. I'm a conservative. I do tend to kind of lean more towards the conservatives, and I did vote for Trump. I'll say that. I don't care if you guys, like I said, if we disagree, I think we can still be friends. That's not the point. The point is skip over anybody for any reason when it comes to hurricane relief is wrong. You should not be systematically any kind of person for whatever reason, whether it be political beliefs, religious beliefs, race, any of those things. You single out any kind of people and avoid them for relief when it comes to is just wrong. It's wrong on another level wrong. You should not be doing that. JCG says, hey, Chris, now that it's cooling down, what's the coolest weather you would put 2-week-old chicks out from the brooder? Well, that question actually comes up quite a bit. I should probably do videos on that. I think I may have talked about it in videos before. 2-week-old, I don't know that if it was getting down below, say, probably the 50s at night, I think I would probably hold them for another week and just try to acclimate them to that just a little bit better. Now, I had 2-week-old birds that I put outside, and we had a freak cold front come through, and it got down to 38 degrees that night, and I didn't lose any birds. Well, I think I lost one. But that was it. And they made it, but they were, but it warmed up pretty quick the next day too. So I think probably the 50s would be about where I'd feel comfortable putting them outside. And that's if you kind of acclimated them down. You like moved them off the heat. You don't want to go like if you found them at 100 degrees, you don't want to take them from 100 degrees and plunge them into 50 degrees all of a sudden. So hopefully that makes sense and answers your question. Let's see where we at here. Rabbit Homesteading says saves lives, not signs. Well, maybe. I don't know if that's a continuation of something. Are you saying we should be saving lives, not worrying about the sign? I think I get what you're saying. I agree. Let's see. You guys are talking to each other. I see some of these comments. I'm like, what are you saying? And then I realize you're talking to somebody else. David Lister says, I put our New Zealand white doe in with our California buck today. One good fall off, and then she was having no more of it. We'll try again in the morning. Yeah. I mean, chances are you had a good fall off. She's probably pregnant. Not a bad idea to go ahead and try again in the morning. But if she doesn't, is still not allowing him to mount or anything, I'd count her as pregnant. Teresa says, I was craving a Pepsi earlier. Me too. And then I drank one, and now I have another one. I'm a soda pop junkie. I really should cut back on what I'm drinking or the amount of soda I drink. Verna says, exactly, Chris. They all paid their taxes, so should be getting the help. Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. I think it's wrong to treat people differently for any of those kinds of things. Joe Sandy says, any of you who pray, I'd appreciate yours. I have a very rough week. On Monday, a large neighborhood dog escaped its yard, jumped my fence, killed my 2 pet ducks. They were not livestock. They were companions just like dogs. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, we'll definitely be praying for you. There's a little bit more we'll get to here in just a second. But yeah, we'll definitely be praying for you. I know hard weeks are hard weeks, and everybody has them, and everybody could use prayer from time to time. So I will definitely be praying for you. Let's see. Homestead Matters says, total subject change. What's the best Thanksgiving dessert? Well, in my opinion, pumpkin pie. I love pumpkin pie. Let me preface that. I love the Libby's pumpkin pie. The recipe that's on the can when you buy Libby's canned pumpkin, that pumpkin pie. That's my absolute favorite. Love it. Not like if you go to a store and buy a pre-made pumpkin pie, they're terrible. They're absolutely horrible. And I can understand if that's what people associate pumpkin pie with when they say they don't like pumpkin pie. But the Libby's brand, pumpkin, that recipe on their can, that one is fantastic. That's really good. That's my absolute favorite Thanksgiving dessert. Okay, here's a little bit more from this from Josine. He says, I saw part of the attack. It was terrible, and I'm not dealing with it well. Yeah, I can't imagine. That's always a traumatic thing, and sorry you had to deal with that. That's not good. Joshua says, one of my does had her first Kindle, and she ate a part of one of the kit's arms. I cleaned it as best as I could and put Neosporin on it. Should I remove the dead arm? Kind of freaking out. Help. I don't know exactly what to tell you. You said remove the dead arm? Like, you mean like snip it off? That seems like, how long ago did this, how old is the kid? I don't know. I don't know that I want to think about doing that. I don't know that I would, unless it's getting infected or something like that. I think I would just leave it and let things go. We'll let maybe somebody that's dealt with this a little bit more, and maybe they can kind of answer that for you. But I don't think I would try to remove it. No. Joe Sandy says, apparently he had previously killed a whole flock of chickens and also other neighbors' ducks. The guy was trying to rehabilitate it. Oh, that's terrible. I wonder if this, I assume you live in a city. Is this, has this been reported up? I mean, are they doing something? Is the city doing something about it? I mean, it doesn't sound like if it's a reoccurring issue, it sounds like somebody needs to, I mean, I know what I would do with it, but it's just me. Teresa says, no pumpkin pie for me. My favorite pie is key lime pie. Yeah, I mean, key lime, I'm not a big citrus. I don't really like citrus that much. So I could skip on the key lime pie, but I do love some pumpkin pie. Verna says, I agree about Libby, Chris, but pumpkin cheesecake is the bomb. Well, I don't know. I've had pumpkin cheesecakes before, and they're okay. I mean, I've never had one that was really, really good. I prefer, when it comes to cheesecake, I just prefer regular cheesecake. I like cheesecake quite a bit too. It's another one of my weaknesses. But um anyway, Verna says, you and me both, Chris, we do have a right to protect our livestock for sure. Teresa Wiggins says turtle cheesecake is the best. Yeah, that's not bad either. I made I just like plain cheesecake with like a good like berry sauce or something like that on top of it, poured over it. I made some a couple of years ago that was, oh man, it was fantastic. I can make a pretty good cheesecake actually. So I made a cheesecake and then I made a blackberry sauce to go over it. And oh man, that was good. That was really good. It was basically just like a blackberry simple syrup kind of. So I took the berries out because a lot of people are weird about the seeds. So I just kind of cooked them down, got the juices out of them, and then mixed some sugar in to the sweetness level I wanted, and then thickened it a little bit and poured that over, and man, it was good. Dawn says pumpkin cheesecake, watered down pumpkin, or dirty cheesecake for me. Wait, or dirty cheesecake to me. What now? Pumpkin cheesecake, watered down pumpkin, or dirty cheesecake to me. I don't know exactly what you're saying. I'm not sure. I don't know if I understand that completely. Andy says, Andy Rabbit, just stopping by to say hello. Well, hey, we appreciate it. Hello to you. Hopefully you're doing well. Joe Sandy says, the dog was brought here from another state where the original attacks happened. I did not report it. I highly doubt our local authorities would have done anything about it since it didn't attack humans. You might be surprised, but I mean, that's a terrible thing. Here's the problem. Like my dog, he will kill small animals. I mean, he will tear, including cats. So that's one of the reasons that I make sure I try to keep him. I don't just let him go out and roam. I mean, I could do it because he won't go anywhere unless there's a small animal for him to go after to kill. He's great with other dogs. He's great with like goats, that kind of stuff. He's fine with, but any kind of small animal, he'll kill him. So I have to keep him under control because, I don't want that to happen. I don't want somebody to report it and have to deal with it, Andy says, yes, pumpkin pie is the bomb. My birthday is the 25th of November, and rather than have pumpkin pie than a birthday cake. It's kind of funny. I get pumpkin pie for my birthday instead of birthday cake because I prefer it too. But my birthday's in February. It doesn't matter. I still get pumpkin pie for my birthday. Don says, pumpkin cheesecake tastes like watered down pumpkin. Yeah, okay, I agree. Yeah, pumpkin cheesecake to me has not been that great. Or the cheesecake part is not cheesecake taste either. Yeah, I agree. I don't really care for it either. It's not my favorite. And I like cheesecake and I like pumpkin pie, but the two just, I don't know, it sounds good, but I've never had one that was really good. Joshua says, you've been a great help with my rabbit journey. I've watched and rewatched a lot of your videos, but I know if I have a question, I can tune in Thursdays. You're the man. Thank you. Well, thank you very much for the kind comments. I appreciate that. And I'm glad to hear that you're getting your information you need. You're finding the videos useful. That's exactly why I do them. Don, the way I make it is a pumpkin pie / cheesecake layers. I'm not saying I wouldn't try it, but yeah, Don says not mixed together. Yuck. Yeah, I'm not saying I wouldn't try it, but I can't promise you that I'd really like it all that much. But I don't know. To me, like pumpkin pie is so good that just to mix it with something else is like it can't be any better. It's like, and cheesecake's kind of the same way. Cheesecake's really good, but you put the two together and it just kind of diminishes both of them a little bit. I don't know why. Strawberry rhubarb pie, if you please. Boy, I haven't had a strawberry rhubarb pie since I was a kid, probably. My grandma used to make them, and I do like strawberry rhubarb. But she also made just a strawberry pie that was really, really good. I've forgotten about that. Sweet potato pie or plain cheesecake for me. Sweet potato pie is pretty good. Basically, I mean, it tastes like pumpkin pie to me. I can't hardly tell the difference. Buck Reynolds says, my birthday is the 28th of this month, and I'm cooking pecan pie. Well, pecan pie is not bad. And Verna says, I have to make chocolate pecan pie for my daughter. I don't know that I've ever had a chocolate pecan pie. That's kind of weird. Joe Sandy says, everybody have a happy and blessed Thanksgiving. I don't want to be a downer here, so I'll sign off for now. Lots to be thankful for. I'm just so down right now. Love you all and thankful for you all. Hey, don't worry about it. I mean, that's what community's for, is you can share those kinds of things, and we hopefully can come up beside you. And you're not being a downer to us. I mean, it's okay. We can feel, I mean, it's a terrible situation that happened, and we feel for you. I mean, and I'm sorry that did happen to you. Dragon Girl says Dutch apple pie warm with ice cream on the side. Yeah, apple pie is okay. I kind of like it every once in a while, but Teresa Wiggins says our 25th anniversary is on the 27th. Well, happy anniversary. That is fantastic. I'm glad to hear that you made it that long. Guadalupe says, my rabbit, she is making her nest. Well, awesome. Hopefully you have some good, have a good kindling, get a big litter. Hopefully everything goes well. Teresa Wiggins says, I like caramel apple pie. So yeah, that would be all right too, I guess. I do like caramel quite a bit. Caramel apple pie doesn't sound bad. I don't know that I've ever had it. I'm not a huge, honestly, if there's a bunch of desserts available and pumpkin's one of them, I'm probably going to have pumpkin pie, and then I just don't want anything else. So I don't really try a lot of the other ones sometimes. Dawn says, Dragon Girl, yes, please. That is also awesome. Okay, so make 4 to 5 pies. Take a small slice of all of them. Yeah. Teresa says, I say caramel. Yeah, I say caramel. I don't know if there's a correct pronunciation for it. It's kind of, I mean, it's just, that's one of those words that we say different. Like, is it pecan or is it pecan? I guess it depends on what part of the country you live in, right? But yeah, I say pecan and I say caramel. Yeah, I think they're both right. I think they are too. It's just different dialects, right? I don't really know if there's a right way to pronounce one or the other. There's a lot of words that, I mean, I'm sure I pronounce wrong, like wheelbarrow. I always have a hard time with that one too. Caramel or caramel, it's all sticky good. Yeah, I agree. A jack of all trades, there we go, says I can get down with a slice of all of them. Yep. Verna says both are right in my world. Both are right in both words. Hello. Yeah. So Teresa says I say orange, and my dad says orange. Orange. That's weird. I don't know if I've heard that. Homestead Matters says linguistically both are right. Well, good. At least I'm not wrong on that one. There's a lot of things I'm sure I do pronounce wrong, technically incorrect, but I don't know which ones those are. Like I said, wheelbarrow. I always get that mixed up, which ones it's supposed to be. Somebody always calls me out in the comments when I talk about it. I can't ever remember which one's right, but all right, we're running low on comments all of a sudden. Probably about 10 more minutes. I'm going to wrap this up. Like I said, I got to get to, it's a barrow, not a barrel. There you go. I always forget. But yeah, I am going to wrap this one up probably about 15 minutes early. I need to get off here, eat some dinner, and go to bed so I can get up and go hunting in the morning. Bob says, what do you think about the U.S. government wasting $356,000 of taxpayer money on a study on whether or not quail are more sexually promiscuous on cocaine? I have not heard about that. That sounds like a giant waste of money, though, for sure. One more reason we need somebody in there, getting rid of all the government waste. Brett says pecan pie is the best. And S.O. Swanson says pecan is pecan. Deep South say pecan. So it's just an area. Yep. I agree. Guadalupe says, how many rabbits can a Holland Lop have per litter? I don't know. I've never raised Holland Lops. I would assume probably like 5 or 6. I don't know. Let's do a quick Google search, see what it says. Six or 7 was the quick Google search I did. So yeah, that sounds about right. Steve says, have a great Thanksgiving all. Thank you. You too. Oh, yeah. And for those of you guys here, there will not be a live broadcast next week. It's Thanksgiving, so won't be doing it next week. JCG says, what's the earliest you can vent sex quail? Well, really they got to hit sexual maturity. So you're looking at like the earliest being like around 8 weeks old. When the roosters start crowing, the hens start laying eggs, then you can vent sex them. But that also depends on what time of year it is. They have to be crowing and laying eggs. So if you're in the wintertime, you're not putting supplemental lighting on them, you're going to have to wait until spring, whenever the daylight gets 14 hours a day and they go into breeding mode and they start crowing and laying eggs. You're going to have to wait till that. So, I mean, hopefully that makes sense what I'm saying. 8 weeks is about the time they hit maturity. Usually, if you've got the conditions right, enough light, primarily 14 hours a day, then they'll start crowing and laying eggs around that time, and then you can vent sex them. Let's see. Jack of all trades says, "What's your favorite meat, quail or rabbit?" I don't know if I like one that much better than the other. If I had to pick one and said, this is it, this is the one I'm gonna have, it's probably quail. It's got a little more flavor than rabbit does. Rabbit's kind of bland, kind of like white meat chicken. But I like them both for different reasons. Jennifer says, "Good evening, Chris and everyone. Chris, why would my rabbit make a nest and not have babies?" Well, I mean, it depends on how long. Where are we at here? Okay, it depends. I mean, how long ago did she make the nest? Are we talking about just a day or two ago? Because it's not uncommon that they make a nest and then it's a week later maybe where they have the babies. I mean, it's not super common, but it's not uncommon for that to happen. So, I wouldn't worry about that. If it's been longer, if it's been like a couple of weeks or something, then she may have had a false pregnancy. That happens from time to time, or sometimes they miscarry. That happens from time to time as well. So, I mean, it's hard for me to know exactly which situation it would be. There's a lot of different factors in there. If she has gone, say, if she's well past her due date, like she's at like 35, 40 days, and she hasn't had babies yet, I'd go ahead and rebreed her, try again. Brett says, "Wish you the best. That sucks. It sucks that I'm wrapping up early tonight." Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, only about 15 minutes. But Guadalupe says, "Do you name your rabbits?" No, I don't really. David Lister wants to know, "Are you wearing your Teddy R shirt?" My Teddy Roosevelt shirt. Yeah, you may be cool, but you will never be Teddy Roosevelt riding a moose cool. I think I may have worn this last week too, didn't I? I don't know. I don't really pay that much attention to what I wear from day to day. I just grab a shirt and put it on. Let's see. Is that Durney? Says, "Do you ever think of adaptations to your very popular cages, things you might do differently knowing what you know now?" I've thought about it, but I don't really know of anything I would change on it necessarily. Now, I know there are some people that have built similar cages to mine and have added maybe like external feeders that, mount on the outside so you don't have to open it up to put feed in. That doesn't really bother me, so I don't really need to do that. But S.O. Swanson says, no changes. Chris's hutches are the best. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm sure that, everybody's situation is a little bit different, and I'm sure that there are a lot of people out there that could find a way to change it, a way to improve on it for their situation, and it's fine with me. It doesn't hurt my feelings. Jennifer says, "It's been 43 days since I bred her." Sounds like either a false pregnancy or a miscarriage of some kind, something like that. I'd try to go ahead and rebreed her and see how she does on the next one. Brett says, "All the pies make me gain 5 pounds." Yeah, well, you can probably tell I don't really worry too much about that. But Steve says, "Jennifer, I have one doe that builds a nest on day 14. Yep. That happens sometimes. Not common, but it does happen. Jeep Try. I don't know what that exactly says, but anyway, it says, "What are you hunting in the morning?" It's deer season. It started last Saturday. That's why I didn't get a video out this week, because I was hunting all weekend. Didn't see hardly anything. And then this is the last weekend. It closes on Tuesday. So I took a day off work tomorrow. I've got tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday to hopefully get one before the season ends. Don says, everyone happy Thanksgiving. I am still here, but setting up cold therapy and listening." Hey, I understand. It's all good. Andy says, "Good luck with hunting in the morning." Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Andy Rabbit says, "My rabbits get names A to Z or just letters just to keep up with the records. I name both bucks and does A through Z of each breed." Yeah, so you basically you're talking about like the ear tag name. Basically, it's just a code basically to keep up with who's who. And I should say, yeah, my pedigree rabbits, I do name them because I need the name for like pedigree purposes for those. But most of my rabbits I don't name. JCG says, I made a cage like yours, but made it double stack. Well, see, there you go. That works better for your situation. David says, our last incubation for the year is ongoing. The first just hatched, 41 left to go. Nice. Well, hopefully you have a good hatch rate out of that. David Lister says, jumbo white wings. I don't know what we're talking about. I don't know why that just seems like a random comment. I guess that's probably a response to something, but I don't know what that means. Oh, wait a minute. I've just forgot. I'm responding to a comment from John. That's what you're incubating. Never mind. I'm with it now. I'm sorry. A little slow there. So yeah, good luck for sure. A jack of all trades says, what's the best breed of meat rabbit? There's so many. There's not one that's necessarily the best. I mean, honestly, if you can get good New Zealand white and Californias, those are probably the best just because they're the most common, the easiest probably to come by. They tend to have big litters. They tend to grow fast. I mean, that's probably the best ones, but there's a lot of different breeds that would make decent meat rabbits, make good ones. And depending on what you want out of them, that may not be the best. I mean, that's just, if you're looking at just meat production, it's hard to beat a good New Zealand doe. Teresa says, do you name or keep track of your quail? No, I don't. I mean, I don't know how you would. I mean, they're all mixed together. I couldn't tell one from the other usually. Aaron Guidros is here. Says, good evening, everyone. Barely made it. I'm wrapping up about 15 minutes early tonight because it's deer season. I'm going deer hunting in the morning. Took a day off work. So you barely made it in time, but hey, it's good to see you. Andy Rabbit says, when I tattoo, I do the buck letter first and then the doe's letters so I can look at it and know who they belong to. That's good. That's a good idea to do it that way. Guadalupe says, have you ever had different rabbit breeds? Yeah, I've had several different rabbit breeds. New Zealand's, Californians, silver foxes, had a giant chinchilla one time, had a red New Zealand once, or New Zealand red, I guess it would be. What else? There's several different breeds that I've had. The bad thing about New Zealand's is a lot of times they can kind of be, especially the does. The does can kind of be neurotic, a little bit crazy, But I mean, that's not always the case. But it does seem to be higher probability with New Zealand's than some of the other rabbits. Guadalupe says, how long have you been breeding rabbits for? Oh my goodness, I don't know, 15 years, something like that, for quite a while. I'm not into showing rabbits or anything. I've just been breeding them for meat, so I couldn't speak to like breed standards and show rabbits and that kind of stuff, but I've been breeding for meat for that long. How are we doing? We got about 3 more minutes. I'm going to wrap up, so we got to get. If you got a question or comment you want answered, get it in there quick. Dawn says, I just led cold therapy when it's winter. I'd say never get surgery in freezing winter. Glad I am winding this down. Yeah, no kidding. I imagine that does suck. Durney says, some of my female quail, is that died? D-O-E-D. I think that's a typo. I think maybe you said some of them died. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. That's, then it got deleted. So I'm guessing that was probably a typo. But if that was the case, if you're saying some of them died, that's unfortunate. It just happens from time to time. There's not much you can do. Homestead Matters says, good luck on the hunt, Chris. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Teresa says, do you have a fence around your quail hutches? I do not have a fence around my quail hutches. I've never really needed it. I live in town, so I don't really have that big of an issue with it. Occasionally I'll get some predators that'll come by, foxes, raccoons, that kind of stuff, but it's not super common. Andy Rabbit says, oh yeah, this visit is almost over if Chris is about to get off. Yep. Brett says, dang, your deer season sucks. You have no deer. Why is it so short? That's just the rifle season. There's a big, long bow season. And I do hunt with crossbow, but bow hunting's hard. I mean, you got to get them really close to you before you can shoot at them. I don't know. I think it's been too warm. It's cooled off, so I'm hopefully they're going to be moving now. But, yeah, that's it. Guadalupe says, any advice on breeding rabbits? I started 5 years ago and I love learning. Well, I mean, if you have specific questions, I can answer them. A general question like that, it's like to always take the doe to the buck, never take the buck to the doe. You know, I mean, that's where I can start. I don't know if I can give you other ones. I got a lot of videos though, so you can check them out. And we're running out of time, so I don't have time to get into a big long monologue there. But Don says, rabbit meat is not white meat, is it? Someone told me today it is white meat. Well, I think of it kind of as white meat. It's kind of like white meat chicken. It's kind of bland, kind of takes on the flavor of what you cook it with. But that's my thought. S.O. Swanson says, hey, have a longer bow season where Chris is. Yeah, we do. We have a really long bow season. I mean, bow season's been open since like September, and it closes for rifle season. The 10 days that rifle season is open, and then it picks back up afterwards. Durney says, some of my female quails died recently, so I am left with 2 males and 2 females. Are they okay together to overwinter? Probably. If you don't put light on them, especially, that'll help, because they'll stop breeding, stop laying eggs. They'll be a little bit more docile, and you should be okay. Tony says, I noticed many people stop hatching this time of year. Is there a reason for it? I'd like to hatch a couple more times throughout the winter, but this is my first year raising quail. I do it just because it's so cold out and it's hard to get them from the brooder to the outside hutches when it's that cold. That's the only reason I do it. If you want to do it, there's no reason not to. Do it. Have fun with it. All right, guys, I got to wrap this one up because I got to go. Like I said, I got to get to bed so I can go hunting in the morning. Yeah, Aaron says, I hatch all year round, but you live in Louisiana. I mean, I live in Southwest Missouri. I mean, we're getting down to 30 degrees tonight. All right, guys. I'm going to wrap this one up. I will see you guys in 2 weeks because I won't be on next week for Thanksgiving. Thanks for joining me tonight. I hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving. And we'll see you in 2 weeks. And as always, God bless.